Hi, I'm Nat. Welcome. Today I'm celebrating my first day of medical transition. Today is the 28th of August 2020, and I had my first appointment with the gender clinic today. It was a really basic appointment, just a set of questions they wanted to ask. And my next step is to go for final medical review. And that's where I'll have my decision about whether they're okay to start me on hormones or not. So it's an exciting step for me. It's actually a step that I thought I'd never take, and I wanted to share a few things with you. Most importantly, I wanted a day one video because I plan to do more videos, and I found it really useful when YouTubers who I watch have done a video at the beginning of their transition, because just looking back at how they were before the hormones kicked in helps me to understand what hormones might do to my body. And sometimes, particularly when people look very when they have the kind of look that I wish I could have, and then I don't have a chance to look back at how they started, I don't know how much of that was the hormones and how much of that was how they naturally were. And so I think for me, I'm trying to do this video as natural as possible. Today is no makeup. I'm wearing the dress I wore to work, and today is just me. And I want to be able to share some of my journey. Some of the things I find good, some of the things I find bad, and whatever. So what I want to tell you is how I got to this point today. I'm 33 years old. I started identifying as trans when I was 30, maybe 31. And at first I identified as non-binary. Now that was after I'd started to realise that the label man didn't really suit me. It didn't really feel comfortable. And I started to explore by occasionally asking people to use she, her pronouns for me at different parties and events. And I found that I was playing the role of a woman. I was trying to pretend to be a woman. And it was a great way of exploring for me. But it didn't feel like a way that I'd be comfortable living my whole life. I was making decisions about what drink I was going to order based on what a more girly drink was. And I was deciding how to act and how to speak and all of this in a way that was actually quite artificial. And I knew it at the time. But that was part of my exploration. Now, when I then decided to live as non-binary, it was largely because I'd lived as a man and felt uncomfortable as that, and I didn't want to just put myself in the woman box and then feel uncomfortable with that. And particularly as my exploration at the time involved a lot of limiting myself. So I lived as non-binary, and my style, my aesthetic was always very feminine. I love heels. I love dresses and skirts and makeup and earrings. Now, one of the big things that stood out about me walking down the high street in my heels and my skirts and whatever is that I had quite a large beard. Now, for me, that was like the best look to go with my identity. That I didn't fit in a box, and I didn't want to fit in a box. And I still love that look. What changed for me was I found myself feeling more and more comfortable in the woman box. So one of the big steps was I was changing my name legally. So Nat wasn't the name I was given when I was born, but it's the name I'm comfortable with today. And I chose Nat while I was non-binary, and it took me about 2 months of playing with the name before I then tried it for the first time. And I went to the big vegan camp out, and I decided that's a place where I only know about 2 people, and therefore I've only got to tell 2 people I've changed my name, and I'll just tell everyone else my name's Nat. And so I made new friends as Nat. I've got various friends from then who only know me as Nat. And I'm just realising that's about a year ago that I did that. Now, that was my test weekend, and I came away from there certain that I wanted to change my name to Nat, and I wanted that to be my legal name. And I stumbled on what I was going to have as my title. So there's a title Mix, MX, which is a really good non-binary title, but it didn't quite feel like what I wanted on my driving license or on my passport. So I explained this one away, and it's a reasonable explanation. It was the truth, but it was also my excuse that I gave to myself. On a lot of forms, you can't choose mix. There isn't an option for it. There's usually an option for Mr., Miss, Ms, and Mrs. Now, I've been married, I'm divorced, and therefore of the female titles, Ms is the best match. Now, I also like how Ms is quite a feminist title. It's a title that you can use regardless of your marriage status. And I think that really I felt comfortable as Ms. So I spent 3 months trying to make sure I was definitely certain before I changed my name. And at the end of that, I was absolutely certain. I started the process of buying a house, and I knew that I wanted all of the house details to be in my new name, my proper name. And I wanted a title that was going to last me a long time, and I went with Ms. And when I went to all the banks and changed it to Ms and stuff, I felt so empowered by that. It felt so right. And that inspired a few more changes. And what I find is that for me personally, presentation and my view of myself and the way that I engage with the world, it all kind of rolls in together. So my view of myself was Ms for a while. I was like that kind of more female leaning. And then when I changed my name, it then started to settle in. One of the changes that I then became sure I wanted to make was to get rid of the beard. Now, I knew that I could identify as a woman without shaving the beard off, and I knew that I could identify as non-binary with shaving the beard off. But for me, shaving the beard was one of those steps about like moving on from my past. So with beards, let's just have a little beard interlude here. I wanted to grow a beard for my whole childhood. I couldn't wait. And I was about 24, 25 before I could actually grow one. And I just kept it growing from that age. I just got it bigger and bigger. I remember joking that my work ID photo came down to here, and it was past the bottom of my beard, and therefore I can grow my beard as long as I want, and that ID photo will still look like me. And it was a way of signifying myself as a man. And before I could grow the beard, I had long hair, roughly this length, and I've got a reasonably girly face, and I was having people confuse me with a woman. I gave lots of old men heart attacks when I walked out of the men's toilet and they thought they were in the wrong one. And I never minded that, but it felt like people were telling me that I should mind it. And therefore, when I had the chance to grow a beard, it was my chance to go, no, I'm a man, it's okay. And I think for me, getting rid of the beard was basically saying I'm not that person anymore. So once that was gone, it was one of the big obstacles, because that beard would have taken at least a year to regrow. Now, I got rid of that beard, and I loved how I looked underneath. And I've fallen so in love with how I look underneath that I've now had laser hair removal on my face, and that beard just won't come back again. It's a step that I was ready to take. So, in terms of my transition, I tend to explain that my social transition is complete. And what I mean by that is that everyone who knows me knows that I'm a woman. I'm a woman at work, I'm a woman at home. Now, what does that mean? I don't know. But I ask people to call me she, her pronouns. On my work chat channels and on my emails and all of that, I've got she, her in my subject line, or in my signature, sorry. And I ask people to use she, her. I group myself with other women, and if you ask me whether I'm a man or a woman or something different, I'll say I'm a woman. That's kind of all that I mean by it. I still ride motorbikes. I'm still very happy weightlifting at the gym. None of that stuff that I thought back when I started exploring and playing with this, the stuff that I thought I'd have to sacrifice in order to be a woman, it was more gender stuff, more gender like society stuff that I didn't want to have to deal with, I didn't want in my life. And when I realised I could be a woman without bringing all that into my life, I knew I wanted to be a woman. There was no doubt about it. So now, why am I starting my medical transition? I've known for a long time, probably actually longer than I've been trans, that if I could just click my fingers and wake up tomorrow with a cis woman's body, I would do it. Now, just to explain what I mean by a cis woman, I mean a woman who was assigned female at birth. So if I could just have that body tomorrow by clicking my fingers, I would totally do that. But I know that as a trans woman, my body won't quite be the same. And I found that difficult, and I didn't want to accept that compromise. I felt that maintaining the body I had, or that I currently have, was better than a compromise, not quite a cis woman's body. Now, I've done more and more research, and every time I found out just how affirming the trans surgery can be, the more that I realised just how good it is, the more I wanted it. And it's a long process, and it's not easy, but I'm ready. I want it. Now, alongside this, there's a load of compromises. The things I'm most excited about are less body hair. So my facial hair that I've had lasered, it does grow back a bit. It will grow back a bit thinner. My chest hair, I have real problems with my chest hair. I hate every individual hair, and I try and pull every hair out. And I have red rash all around here that I'm trying to get past. But the only way I'm going to get past it is to let my hair grow. And I feel uncomfortable with that there. So I'm looking forward to having less body hair growth. That's going to be a really good step for me. I also find that there's some clothes that I'm nervous about wearing, some clothes that I'm concerned about, awkward in, because I'm nervous that if my skirt's too tight, then my tuck might show, and that all gets easier with with hormones. Everything gets smaller and it gets easier to hide. And I never thought before that was what I wanted. And more and more, I'm certain that's what I want. There are a load of other compromises as well, and I'll go through them probably more like as I experience them rather than upfront. But one of the questions I was asked today was about my strength of feeling. How strongly do I feel like I want this? And there are so many compromises that I didn't want to make. I don't want to have to take hormones every day of my life. I don't want to have injections. I don't want medical intervention in my life. But for this, it's okay. And I didn't used to want less body hair growth, and I didn't used to want my down there shrinking, and I didn't used to want any of those things. But for this, it's worth it. And for me, that strength of feeling is what's driving me. This is what I know I want. So today, I'm living as a woman. I'm not on my way to living as a woman. I am a woman. I am living as a woman full time. What I'm looking forward to is feeling more comfortable with my body. I'm looking forward to fitting in more with other women. I'm looking forward to some changes that will make me feel more like my body belongs to me. And that's really exciting. And I can't wait. So you'll see more videos of me. You'll see the transition as it goes, I'm sure. I'm also going to talk about various topics that relate to a number of different issues. With transgender things, I want to share some simple truths that might be missing from some people's understandings. It's really hard for some people to look at transgender people and understand why, because it's not their experience. But I want to share some stuff about trans history. I want to share some stuff about trans rights and trans medical care, and I want to share the space with some lovely friends and some wonderful people who I know who are great to get involved. But most of all, today I'm celebrating day one. as a woman, not waiting to be a woman, but as a woman. And I wanted to involve you in that, and thank you. And I hope that you want to stay around and watch my transition. And if you are someone who's watching one of my later videos and then comes back to this and has a look at where it started, I hope that this honest portrayal helps you in your journey, whatever that is, with understanding yourself or with understanding other people. One quick note about something that won't change with hormones. My voice. So I have a distinct memory of when I started college, age 16. I chose to speak in a deeper voice because I felt like my voice wasn't manly enough. It wasn't the image I wanted to portray to all my new college friends who I wanted to look like a grown up to. And for years I've had a mental block on speaking or singing in a higher range. Now, I'm a musician and a producer, and there are moments where it would be really useful to be able to sing in a range that I used to be able to sing in, and I've lost that through fear. And I'm starting to get some of this back. So my voice as you hear it today is a softer and more gentle, slightly higher pitched version of what it used to be. I'm taking gradual steps and having vocal coaching to make my voice sound more feminine, and it's a change that the hormones won't do anything about. Vocal coaching will help. It's a difficult one. It's not easy and it takes constant effort. But what I want is a voice that I'm comfortable with, and that when I'm on the phone I don't get called sir, because I'm a bit fed up with that already. One thing that I'm noticing, and I mentioned it with the voice here, is softer. I feel like women are expected to be softer, and I don't think that I want to live up to those society-led assumptions. So I want my voice to fit in with other women, but I don't want to be quiet. I don't want to be timid, and I don't want my voice to not be heard. So I will speak in a way that I'm comfortable with, but I will not let my voice be silenced, because that's society's narrative of what we do to women, and we need to all stand against that. So I'm a feminist, I'm a woman, I'm Nat, and it's lovely to meet you, and I hope that you enjoy this channel. Thanks for watching. Oh, of course, you can like and subscribe and all the things.